3 ISIS women from Austria, Russia, and Dagestan recounted how they tried to escape from the al-Hol camp, in al-Hasakah Governorate, eastern Syria, through a network of tunnels and with huge sums of money. Their attempts came in light of the high killings and crime rates in this camp, which houses at least 60,000 people, including family members of ISIS fighters. The security services in the camp say that, since March 2020, they have thwarted or documented nearly 700 escape attempts by ISIS families from the camp. The 3 women, who were dressed in black and veiled, with nothing but bewildered eyes and a pessimistic look, talked about the existence of human smuggling networks that are communicated with through communications programs and social media platforms, with Idlib Governorate or other areas in northern Syria under Turkish influence as the first station after the success of the smuggling operation from the camp. After that, the networks transfer those smuggled from al-Hol into Turkish territory and from there to their original countries, which is often done in exchange for large sums of money. After her husband traveled to Syria, the hottest country in the Middle East, in early 2014, the life of Austrian Hafsa changed upside down. She was married to a citizen of her country called Chirac, who she joined in Syria a year after their marriage, and they lived in ISIS-controlled areas. During her speech, she could hardly remember the names of the cities and towns in which she lived during 4 years of moving in Syria, pointing to the killing of her husband in the battles of ISIS 2 years after their marriage, adding that during this period he had married a second woman with German citizenship. After the organization's geographical and military control was eliminated in the town of al-Baghouz in the eastern countryside of Deir Ezzor, in the spring of 2019, it was transferred to the al-Hol camp in eastern Syria. Hafsa said that after repeated escape and killing incidents in this camp, she also tried to escape, but her attempt failed. At the beginning of her speech, this woman said that she was born in Graz, which is the second largest Austrian city after the capital Vienna, and that she is 27 years old and of Tunisian origin. Regarding the details of her attempt to escape, Hafsa revealed that a jihadi woman, as she described her, contacted her on her mobile phone and sent a message to her via the WhatsApp program. At first, I was very surprised how you found my number and how you know I'm trying to escape, she said. I asked her a lot of questions. She told me that after escaping, she would answer everything. She pointed out that this woman was secretly speaking to her in standard Arabic to the extent that she was unable to know the identity of the country from which she hails. And she continued, she did not ask me for any money. She gave me some names and numbers and asked me to contact them. Indeed, I contacted a person I met at a certain point, and we went through a long tunnel to the camp's outer wall. She added that she later discovered that he was working for the security forces, which are run by the Kurds in the camp, noting that she had been arrested with 3 other women who were also trying to escape from the al-Hol camp. He continued, "They took us for interrogation and were arrested, but we were later released." As for the 28-year-old Rhea, who is from Dagestan, she said that she traveled from her country to Istanbul at the beginning of 2015, when she was 22 years old. From there, Rhea contacted ISIS loyalists through social media platforms, so she was asked to travel to the Turkish city of Adana, where she communicated with human smugglers, and from there she headed to the border areas with Syria and entered through the Tal Abyad gate of Raqqa city. "I first went to the town of Jarablus, Aleppo Governorate, then I headed with others to Tabqa and Raqqa. After the liberation of Raqqa from ISIS in 2017, she fled with ISIS loyalists and went to the cities and towns of the eastern countryside of Deir Ezzor Governorate. Whenever ISIS was expelled from one area, they would go to another direction." Rhea ended up with other widows of the organization in the town of al-Baghouz, the last stronghold of ISIS in Syria. After their surrender in 2019, they went to al-Hol camp. Rhea revealed that a human smuggling network loyal to the organization contacted her while she was in the camp from Russia, and told her that the network would pay money to local smugglers working as drivers for international organizations. She explained, "They told us that we will be transferred from the camp to the Syrian city of Idlib, and from there we will be transferred to Turkey and then travel to Russia." She added that the elements of this network provided her with a few names and numbers to contact her, explaining, "One night, around the first hour after midnight, I went to the point, agreed upon to meet, and there we entered a tunnel and walked for a quarter of an hour until we exited a second hatch. But it seems that our movement exposed us, so we were arrested and taken for interrogation." As for the Russian Narayana, she says that she moved between several Syrian cities and towns, which she memorized one by one with the dates of residence. After her Russian husband was killed in an airstrike, she fled with her children to Iraq, but they returned to Syria in late 2018 due to the violent bombing of the international coalition there. They ended up in the town of al-Baghouz in the countryside of Deir Ezzor. After ISIS surrendered in this town, she was taken to the al-Hol camp, where she has been living for 2 years and 10 months. Regarding the story of her escape, Narayana says that she bought a phone from the camp market for a large sum with an internet chip and secretly inserted it into her tent. She added, "I started communicating with my family and was asking neighbors, sisters, and friends about ways to escape. Indeed, a person contacted me and said he was an Iraqi who would help me escape. This unidentified person gave the reasons for the smuggling operation and specified the time, and place. I went to the designated point, and moments later a large force of security forces raided the place and arrested us. I don't know how it turned out, and I don't know the names of the people who contacted me. They used fake names and nicknames. The internal security forces of the autonomous administration in al-Hol camp announced the arrest of human smuggling networks, including ISIS women, on charges of forming terrorist sleeper cells and human smuggling. After carrying out security operations that included several departments, the security forces arrested leaders of ISIS and referred them to the investigation centers. The security services suspect that the ISIS women play the role of mediator with the sleeper cells of the organization in the smuggling operations from the camp and providing a helping hand to the families of the militants of the extremist organization. In the past months, there have been repeated incidents of escaping from the camp, located 45 kilometers east of the city of al-Hasakah. The spokesman for the Internal Security Forces, Ali al-Hassan, revealed that the thwarted and documented escape attempts since March 2020 amounted to nearly 700 attempts, in which ISIS families of different nationalities tried to escape from the camp to reach Turkey and then to their countries of origin, as investigations revealed. He pointed out that the camp's security apparatus has increased monitoring and inspection points and conducted patrols around the camp and its entrances and exits. He added, "The camp area is very large, and it is surrounded by rugged desert land. We have increased observation points and guard posts. Our patrols roam day and night for 24 hours inside and outside the camp." Al-Hol camp, close to the Iraqi border, houses 60,000 people, Syrians and Iraqis making up the largest proportion of its residents. It also includes a special section for foreign immigrant women and their children, who come from about 50 Western and Arab countries. Their number is about 11,000 women and children, including 3,177 women. This section is subject to strict security guards, and entry and exit are prohibited without written permission from the camp administration. 3 ISIS women from Austria, Russia, and Dagestan recounted how they tried to escape from the al-Hol camp, in al-Hasakah Governorate, eastern Syria, through a network of tunnels and with huge sums of money. Their attempts came in light of the high killings and crime rates in this camp, which houses at least 60,000 people, including family members of ISIS fighters. The security services in the camp say that, since March 2020, they have thwarted or documented nearly 700 escape attempts by ISIS families from the camp.